Good afternoon. I never seem to be amazed by the men in that locker room. With the news this morning, talking to the team about Christian, and the effort and energy that I saw out there today was very impressive. Very unfortunate, and it's part of the business that we live in. We know this is what we signed up for. Christian is a great person, outstanding individual. We know what he brings from a football perspective, but he's just a good human being. And had the opportunity to speak with him last night, wished him well, and I know he's going to do a great job out there. And with that, I'll take your questions.
Steve, as an interim coach, do you feel like this adversely affects your chances to become a full-time head coach here?
I told you guys from day one, my focus is just really, trying to win the day, each and every day. And whatever happens at the end, we'll deal with it when it comes. My focus is to make sure that those guys, the men in that locker room, are prepared and ready to play. And we've had a great week of practice, and I'm looking forward to the outcome on Sunday.
Coach, the team already struggling offensively. You guys traded away 2 starters over the last 5 days. There's rumors and whispers that the team may be tanking. What is the message that you conveyed to the locker room as far as what this looks like and whether they feel like this could be a lost season and like this being sacrificed for future success? Well,
I think the first thing you have to understand is that we as professionals, we take a lot of pride in what we do, coaches and players. And there's no such thing as tanking when it comes to myself, nor the men in that locker room. Yes, we have been struggling a little bit in the past with our offense. It's an opportunity for other guys to be able to step up and make some things happen. I'm excited about the guys that we have in that running backs room, and I think those guys will step up accordingly and be able to take the workload. My message to those guys is that don't allow the outside noise determine our outcome, and let's create our own narrative and come to work each and every day locked in the focus and rely and trust in one another.
Steve, as you guys are struggling, I would imagine you're relying on the captains and the leaders of this team to take ownership. When you lose a guy like Christian who is in that role, how do you fill that void?
Well, I think, again, as you just mentioned, D-Jack, Burns, when you look at Shaq, those guys have really stepped up and taken a role. As I said before, practice today was outstanding. I thought the leadership was there. We were vocal. We got things done accordingly. And, once again, I didn't think we missed a beat.
Steve, with Christian just such a big part of the offense and the game plan last week and many weeks, how do you adjust to that on such short notice?
Well, just other guys. Christian was a jack of all trades. You can, run him in between the tackles, outside, put him on the in the slot position. But Blackshear, I think he does a great job, in those roles as well. Foreman, downhill runner, change of pace right there with Chuba. So I think we're going to be great.
How do you plan to split the workload in the backfield with Christian now gone? Do you have a starter? Is it going to be kind of a by committee type of thing?
It's going to be by committee. We're going to figure out exactly which guy's hot, and I think it's always a good change-up for us.
Coach, you've been around the team off and on in recent years. Where do you think McCaffrey ranks in the great pantheon of great Panthers that you've had?
I tell you guys this all the time. I'm not in comparisons. McCaffrey is an outstanding player. I was here, as you mentioned before, when we drafted him, and just his work ethic and what he brings and his day-to-day operation, and he is a pro's pro. So he's definitely going to be truly missed by, us and the fans, and he will probably be considered one of the greatest.
Do you have a story that really exemplifies the type of player that he was?
I think it's just his tenacity just to always want to practice and never really want to come out of the game. Jim Skipper was the running back coach when he first got here, and I can remember those guys having those issues or strong conversations about really wanting to play and get the reps. So I just always admired and loved his passion for the game.
Thank you.
How much were you consulted on this trade? I mean, did you have a voice in it, or was it all Scott and maybe Tepper?
David, when you say a voice, was I involved in the conversation as far as communication and what was going on? Yes. I was informed that there were some conversations and some phone calls made, and then once the decision was made, I was given a phone call.
Does it become increasingly more difficult to convey your message to the team when assets are being traded?
No, I really don't think so, Joe, because again, when I look in that locker room and I see guys like Burns and I see JC and I see Derek Brown, Chin, who I know we're going to get back. I can go on the offensive side of the ball as well. We have great players, and I think those guys understand the magnitude of the talent that we have in that room. We just got to continue to believe in one another, build that trust, and go out and execute on game day.
But teams are going to continue to call about some of those guys. Have you gotten any assurances from Scott that some of those guys you just mentioned are untouchable?
The conversations that we've had, we haven't even entertained any of those calls. So to answer your question, no.
Steve, did you, I guess a lot of guys knew when they came in by this morning, so did you address the team in a full meeting? Is that what you're speaking about?
Yes, we did. We addressed the team in a full meeting. I changed some things around because I wanted them to hear my voice first. So we talked about that. When Christian and I talked last night, he wanted to have the opportunity to say goodbye to his teammates. He texted me this morning and said he had an early flight out. He couldn't. But I expressed his, he was so grateful and thankful for his teammates. I wanted those guys to understand how we felt about Christian. And then most importantly, we got to move forward. There's an opportunity in that room, and someone needs to step up. Leadership-wise, we already mentioned about certain guys, really taking that role. So, again, I can't go back and continue to talk about how practice was, with the circumstances. I thought guys overcame and went out there and got some work done today.
I know Elfline is mispracticed and Taylor is questionable. What's your feeling on whether he's going to be able to go on Sunday, and what would your plan be if he's not?
Pat's probably going to be out. Moten is going to be fine. We spoke as we were having the warm-up. He told me he was going to be good. I just wanted to really give him a day to allow that, to calm down, tendonitis. So he's going to be fine on game day.
Steve, when you step on the field on Sunday, it will be one of less than 5 occurrences this season where 2 black head coaches face off. Is that any special significance to you for that as the league tries to increase its diversity?
I really don't want to, try to pinpoint anything from a diversity standpoint. I will say this: I have a lot of respect as a man for Todd Bowles. When I was a young coach in college at the University of Notre Dame, Bowling Green, I would go over to the Cleveland Browns where he was coaching at the time, and we built a relationship and a rapport. And when I got my first opportunity to go to the league, he was one of the guys that I called, and I said, what do I do? I've never been at this level before. And the greatest advice that he gave me, he said, just be yourself. Just be yourself. So a lot of respect for him, and it's just who he is as a person, nothing to do with his color.
Did anything change during the week with your approach at quarterback, or is it still going to be PJ followed by, or if necessary, Jacob?
Yes, nothing has changed there, status quo. I thought those guys worked well this week, and I'm talking about Darnold as well as Bake. He did a tremendous job, but I just really wanted to continue to see those guys progress a little bit, and then we'll get back to monitoring those guys next week.
Will either Baker or Sam be active as a emergency?
Not this week, no, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Yeah.